karamihan ng mga Pilipino na makapagsalita or makaintindi ng wikang Banyaga or Chinese language. So I just thought it would be good to emphasize that isa po yun sa dapat na mabigyan ng konsiderasyon. Yung nakalalamang po at 95% po ang requirement. Kaya meron po kasing pagbabahala na many thought that those who are in the IGL Pogo business will move to the SCBPO. Hindi po talaga maaaring maganap yun. Dahil yung nga pong ratio ng foreigner at Filipino hindi po magtutugma. If you're talking of just talking of a number, we're talking of about 100,000 foreign nationals. Then, following the ratio of 95% Filipino and 5% foreigners, then you'll have to have hundreds of thousands of Filipinos there. These people who will attempt and which I mean this early I will say PAGCOR will not allow, but I think that is a very major consideration in this SCBPO license arrangement with PAGCOR, and I believe, as mentioned by Secretary Enrile and Administrator Pangandaman earlier, nakararami po talaga Pilipino. Yun lang po, Mr. Chairman.
Chairman, based on the data you submitted to us, tama ba? 83,000?
Hindi po.
How many are working in special class BPOs?
5 lang po.
5,000.
5,000
okay.
lang po. A total of 5,038 as of August 31. As of August 31, Mr. Chairman, there are 4,000, close to 5,000 Filipinos, 4,901, and you have 137 foreign nationals of different nationalities. So we have a total of about 5,100 more or less, Mr. Chairman.
So for if PAGCOR has 5,000 and then the CESAS 2,008 and then AFAB has 1,700, so more or less about 10,000.
Yes,
more or less.
Mr. Chairman, that is what I have been espousing in the last hearings. We're looking here at about 10,000 Filipino
across
workers.
the different IPAs and PAGCOR.
Yes, and as I had mentioned, we have suspended the issuance of new licenses, and that decision emanated from the pronouncement of the President in the last SONA. So immediately I had suspended the processing of applications. Madami pa pong gustong mag-apply, substantiated by all the requirements, yung sinasabi ko sa inyong contracts earlier, and the ratio of the number of Filipinos versus foreign nationals. So I just want also to wait for the issuance of the executive order para malaman po nga kung makakasama ito sa maaaring ma-exempt. At tulad ng nabanggit ko kanina at inyong kinumpirma, malaki po siguro ring magiging impact dito yung pagbisita natin sa darating na Biyernes. Kasama ninyo at ang ilang miyembro ng Committee ng Games sa Senado para kayo po mismo ay makita ninyo kung ano nga ba talaga ang operation ng isang SCBPO na may lisensya sa CESA, sa AFAB, gayon din naman po na linilisensyahan ng PAGCOR.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you to Administrator Katrina and Administrator Pangandaman for sharing with us your activities on the special class BPO/service providers. And again, this is something that the Committee on Games will be studying and undertaking to understand. And definitely what we, at least personally, and what this committee has been recommending since 2022 is to ban POGOs. And the definition of POGOs is entities that take bets outside of the Philippines no? So mayroon siyang gambling activity, no? So we'll leave this topic of SCBPOs for now, and the Committee on Games is also doing its own due diligence on that, and we will one time or later on a later time we will make our recommendation as to how to approach the SCBPOs, no? And considering that almost 10,000 Filipinos, no, Filipinos work in this type of business, one of our goals is to generate jobs for our countrymen, no? So we'll go into the topic of online gaming, particularly e-games, and I also understand none of the IPAs have e-games, no? Even PEZA, tama po ba, attorney? Do you have BPOs? But are those BPOs are the ones that we know it, no? As we know it, the ones that answer telephone calls and do backroom operations. But do you have any e-gaming companies in PEZA?
None, Your Honor. In fact, their activities are varied, and none of which is on gambling or gaming, Your Honor.
Okay. And I want to drill down on, and I thank PAGCOR again for providing us some information. And just to get our data correct, in 2023, tama po ba, the PAGCOR earned 22 billion from e-gaming?
Opo. Tama po kayo, Mr. Chairman. From electronic gaming in 2023, the highest ever, PAGCOR generated 22.5 billion more or less, Mr. Chairman. Yun po yung naging share na ng PAGCOR.
And this is in the form of regulatory fees.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. The gross gaming revenue counterpart of the said license fees is about 60 billion more or less.
How much is the what is the regulatory regime and the fees that are being imposed on e-gamings? What are the major components?
There are just two. Basically, ang classifications po ay generally, as of today, Mr. Chairman, I just as I had reported also in previous hearings, we have brought down the rates from a high of about 52.5 to 55. Today, we are down to 35% for brick and mortar licensees. I'm referring to those licensees that just have small offices, and 30% as of today for the integrated resorts, because they have invested in facilities, in personnel, and they have a bigger operation, Mr. Chairman.
Let me just get it correctly, Chairman. You 35% of
the GGR.
Of the GGR.
Yes, of
so
gross
PAGCOR,
gaming revenue.
PAGCOR takes 35% of the GGR.
Yes.
From e-gaming companies.
From electronic gaming companies. So basically, there will be two classifications, Mr. Chairman. First being the brick and mortar, yung regular licenses po, 35% po yun. At yung mga land-based casinos naman, kasama po kasi sa kanilang operations ngayon yon, ay 30% sa pangkasalukuyan.
So yung mga, for example, the ones we see here in the Bay Area, yung
the
mga
Entertainment City area.
Entertainment City area.
PAGCOR charges them 30. Ang license fees po nila ay 30%. 30% po ng kanilang GGR for electronic gaming. Hindi po kasama yung kanilang license fees for their land-based operations. No?
So these entities, itong mga nasa entertainment cities, they also have e-gaming.
Dito po sa Entertainment City, lahat po except one who does not have an operation for electronic gaming.
How is it connected to their regular physical gaming? Is there any connection between their e-gaming and their table games?
I believe, Mr. Chairman, the only connection there is that ang kanila pong mga customers ay paglabas sa property nila, nagkakaroon po ng pagkakataon or meron po silang mga normally loyalty cards or membership cards. Lahat po yun, halos yun na rin ang pinapatronize na internet gaming company na kung maglalaro man sila sa labas. So I think that's the only connection, no? But in terms of games that are being played inside the casino, there's no connection. Meron din po silang e-slots, no? So meaning they can play slot machines outside the casino premises. So basically, it is an extension, Mr. Chairman, of their land-based operations. That being the trend, not only in the Philippines today, but worldwide. If your committee would do further research, you would note that most of the big land-based operators based in US and Canada, I'm referring to, let's say, Las Vegas being the hub of gaming in the United States, most, if not all, have online gaming operations. That much I can report to this committee and to everyone who's present here this morning or those who are listening to this hearing this morning. It also goes for those who are in Canada, those who are those who have operate land-based casinos in Europe. Ganun din po. Meron na po talagang online gaming component yung operations. And I can share with you, Mr. Chairman, that this is the trend. And I think this will be the future of gaming. And most jurisdictions, again, for further validation of your committee, most jurisdictions around the world are legalizing online gaming. Even the first world countries, I'm talking of Germany, Italy, well, of course, the US, United States, and Canada, they are already legitimizing, or they have laws now that authorize online gaming. Even Brazil, for example, is a very big market.
Where the service providers, I guess, come in, no? Because these countries are legalizing and liberalizing, and this is where the service providers come into play in terms of providing backroom operations.
Yun po, kaya ang sinasabi ko po rito, ang nakikita ko po sa SCBPO, Mr. Chairman, palaki po ito eh. Ito po sunrise industry. And that would mean the generation of more jobs for our kababayans here in the Philippines. More jobs for the Filipinos. Kasi maliwanag po rito, Mr. Chairman, this is a sunrise industry. Dahil ngayon pa lang po nag-aanunsyo ang iba't ibang jurisdictions around the world na linilegalize na po nila ang online gaming.
Chairman, I am looking at the data. Now, electronic gaming is, correct me if I'm wrong, about 30% of PAGCOR's revenue?
Mahigit na po.
More than 30%.
Ngayon po, for 2024, Mr. Chairman, I'm seeing about 35%.
About 35% of the total PAGCOR revenue.
The total pie.
And PAGCOR's revenue is how much? 60 billion?
Last year po 83.
83.
Ang nakikita ko po this year, Mr. Chairman, first time in the history of PAGCOR, abot po tayo ng mga 100 billion pesos. So if we're talking of 35% of the pie, this online gaming segment or sector in the revenue stream of PAGCOR will contribute about 35 billion pesos. Ang gusto ko pong iulat sa inyo, Mr. Chairman, na from January to August of this year alone, close to 30 billion na po ang revenue ng PAGCOR being generated from the online gaming industry. So, ngayon pa lang unang 8 buwan ng taon yan. May 4 na buwan pa po tayo.
Chairman, I'm just to complete the analysis. My initial thoughts, these e-gamings, because relatively they're easier to deploy because they're all electronic. Do you see any cannibalization coming from the land-based casinos? See, the land-based casinos, they need to build hotels, they need to build facilities, no? They need to put big investments to build all of those convention centers, make it family friendly, no? As opposed to the e-gaming companies, they probably have an office and a lot of computers, but basically they also compete with these land-based casinos. Based on your analysis, is there cannibalization from land-based casinos going to electronic gaming activities?
My answer to your question, Mr. Chairman, is a yes. And I believe that is the main reason why these land-based casinos, especially the integrated resorts, who, as you had mentioned, are spending for infrastructure. The requirement of PAGCOR for one to be given an integrated resort license, for example, is they have to spend a minimum of $1 billion. No? So definitely, Mr. Chairman, meron pong epekto sa kanila yan. Pero sabi ko nga po kanina, ang sa akin pong at sa PAGCOR team's analysis, diyan na po patungo talaga yung industriya ng gaming. At wala na pong recourse kung hindi sumabay na rin yung integrated resorts. Hindi po mawawala ang integrated resorts. Hindi lang dito sa atin kung hindi sa buong mundo. Dahil people would want to go for the personal experience. Yun po ang lalo na ngayon, kaya po defined dyan as integrated resort. Hindi na lang po kasi pumunta ka sa isang integrated resort para magsugal na lamang. Pwede ka na pong kumain, mamimili ka sa napakadaming mga restaurants nila. Gusto mong maranasan yung 5 to 6 star na mga hotel rooms and hotel hospitality na ipinagkakalob nila, meron po silang mga shows, international ang mga artists. So, sa paniwala ko po, hindi po mawawala talaga yung land-based operations. Pero sa inyong katanungan kung naapektuhan ba yung benta ng land-based, wala pong ibang kasagutan na doon kundi opo, yes, naapektuhan. That's why sila na rin mismo lumalahok na sa online, protecting their customer base. Because yung customer nila, halimbawang loyal guest nila, loyal patron, imbis na umuwi sa bahay, nasa sasakyan, or nasa opisina, gustong makapaglaro ng kung ano-anong o slot machine or ano man, imbis na sa iba pa, doon na dapat sa kanila yun, sa x.com resort. So, imbis na makanibalize at mawala pa yung customer na yon, Mr. Chairman, sa kanila na rin naglalaro yun. Kasi bilang card member, the more you play, the more points you will receive also. So, ang akin pong nakikita talaga, maliwanag po ay doon na talaga patungo ang industriya. Nakita natin, At sa mga datos na ipagkakaloob po ng PAGCOR sa committee ninyo, makikita nyo po, medyo nag-plateau na yung revenue ng land base. Yun namang sumasalo ng pag-plateau na yon ay yung online gaming.
Hindi ba mas maganda, Chairman, to promote the land base? Because the land base puts in hard investments, di ba? They build in facilities. In fact, I know some of the integrated facilities are PESA accredited, di ba, attorney? Like for example, in Newport, no? I think in Newport, may PESA, merong mall, merong casino. The point of the matter there is they build facilities, no? And but at the same time, the casino becomes an added attraction for them. So isn't it better to attract this type of investment? Yung talagang they put facilities, because you have job generation for construction, you have job generation for the peripheral business like waiters, food, even yung mga utility, no? Utility lang alone, they hire hundreds and hundreds of utility, as opposed to dun sa online gaming. Full disclosure, I haven't been to an online gaming office, but my imagination is saying that it's an office with a lot of computers and that's it, no? But they compete also with land-based casinos. No, the other one is employing, the other one is just an IT / e-gaming. Isn't it more productive to support these land-based casinos because they generate employment and investment for us? No, it's a policy question, right, Chairman. It's a policy question that I want to just pick your brains and see where PAGCOR is going, no, in terms of this type of businesses. No, the other one is emerging, as you said, but the other one is also providing hard investments. So my question is, in your, I just want to know that from a policy standpoint, will this be a better policy to support the land-based casinos because they bring in hard investments?
Mr. Chairman, I 100% agree with you. Unfortunately, this new trend of electronic gaming is a reality that we are seeing not only in the Philippines but all over the world. And ang mahirap po dito, kung hindi po natin i-regulate, Mr. Chairman, yung industriyang ito. Sa laki po ng industriya sa pangkasalukuyan, at maybe I will share with you, although this is unofficial because I'm talking of a gray market, we're looking here at anywhere from 200 to 200 billion peso industry. And Mr. Chairman, kung hindi po natin i-regulate ito, nakalulungkot mang sabihin sa lahat, tuloy din po ang hanap buhay nitong mga ito. Kaya minarapat ko na lang po na bigyan ng pansin, regulate it properly, and generate revenue for Philippine Amusement Gaming Corporation or PAGCOR, and which we give back to the country and to the Filipino people. So, Mr. Chairman, tama ho yun. Ako isang ayon doon. Ang nag-generate ng jobs ng mga integrated resorts, napakadami. Yung infrastructure, yung pong hindi lang job generation, yung support services lang. Meron ka na dyang utilities na binabayaran. I mean, napakalaki po talaga ng impact ng isang malaking integrated resort. May commitment to invest $1 billion. Wala po tayong pagtatalunan doon, Mr. Chairman. Ang akin lang po, at ito'y bibigyan lang natin ng diin sa hearing na ito, hindi po i-regulate ng PAGCOR yan. Sabi ko nga nandito ang ating mga law enforcement agency. Tuloy din po ang negosyong yan. At kung ang pinag-uusapan natin dito ay 200 hanggang 250 bilyong piso na industriya, at 35%, ang pinag-uusapan po natin dito ay 70 to 80 billion pesos na revenue. So, yun na lang po ang naging struktura, yun na lang po ang ginawa namin. Might as well regulate them properly. In fact, Mr. Chairman, ang dami pong mga kumpanya ang gusto na pong magparehistro. Dati po silang unregistered or illegal. Dahil sa ibinaba po natin yung mga fees na pumantay lang tayo sa mga fees ng ibang mga regulatory companies abroad or in other jurisdictions, wala na pong pupuntahan yung hindi rehistrado or illegal kung hindi ang sumurrender na sa PAGCOR. Dahil yung margin po nila para sa kanilang mga pinagbibigay ng mga rebates at mga commission sa mga ahente, nawawala na po sa pangkasalukuyan. Kaya, pabalik lang po ako sa katanungan ninyo, ako po'y naniniwalang tama kayo na sana'y mas bigyan natin ng pansin yung mag-i-invest ng mga integrated resorts. Kaya lang naman po talagang riniregula na ng mabuti ng PAGCOR yung industry. Maski po anong gawin natin, ang natitiyak ko po ay magpapatuloy itong illegal na operation. Kitang-kita po nung pong ako nag-assume ng office 2 years ago, 12.8 billion lang po ang GGR noon. Nito pong 2023, nung binaba ko po yung fees, 28 billion po, naging 58 billion po. So, dun lamang po halos times 5 na. Sa taong ito po, hindi po bababa sa 100 billion ang magiging GGR. So, magsimula po nung ako'y na-appoint ng chairman ng PAGCOR hanggang matapos ang taon to, ang paniwala ko po 800% to 1,000% ang magiging increase ng GGR. Pagpapatunay lang po na ganun ka laki po yung industriya na hindi nare-regulate itong mga nakaraang taon.
Thank you. Attorney Romero, you want to interject? Any comments to that?
Yeah, comments, Mr. Chair. Yes, PEZO registers these tourism enterprises, and the investments really are big. And what we register are the hotel aspect, the resort, the theme park, for example, museum, art galleries, the health and wellness facilities, the sports and recreational center, those areas, Your Honor, but not the casino portion, but the gaming portion. And if I may say, Your Honor, that these registered tourism enterprises are a big come-on also to our foreign investors, because when we ask them what are the factors that they want to choose the Philippines in coming here, they consider also the existence of this first-class, globally, the excellent service of our tourism enterprise as one of the reasons to come here also.
Thank you for that. Going back to the comment of Chairman, what the Chairman saying, if we don't regulate this, they will just go underground, because the temptation is so big and the money, the gross gaming revenue is so big that if we don't regulate it, and the way you regulated it, but it's by making the regulatory fees competitive. In turn, they surfaced and applied to PAGCOR, and we can see that in the numbers that PAGCOR's collection from electronic gaming has grew. From in 2021 it's only 6.3 billion. In 2022 2023 is now 22.4 billion. So that's the it grew almost 100%. Over the last 2 years. So In other words, the potential is there, and the risk of them going underground is much greater if we don't regulate them. But just to put on table that my view as someone in finance and also chairing this committee who's in charge of investments, no? Because our goal in the Ways and Means Committee is to bring in investments. In fact, this was a big debate when we allowed work from home for, alam ng PEZA ito, no, to work from home for IT BPOs, because we capped it at 50% because we want investors to still build buildings, no, instead of full work from home. So that was a big debate here in the Senate. In the same token, with land-based casinos, we want investors to build the facilities, because those building facilities will bring in, of course, concrete investments and the facilities around it, as opposed to the gaming, just the purely online gaming. And that's a balancing act and a policy decision that I will leave to PAGCOR. I'm just putting that on the table for now. Some thinking points for PAGCOR and for us to think about, because if there's cannibalization that is happening, then this land-based casinos are at the losing end. No? Of course, the best case scenario, two of them will grow. The best case scenario. I'll jump to BIR because we're talking about revenues generating. May I call on Attorney Tony Reyes? Edgar Reyes. How much are we collecting from online gaming companies? From e-games in particular. How much are we collecting from e-games? E-games, these are just e-games, not Pogos. Let's do away with Pogos. That's already a policy. There's already policy to ban it. So we're just focusing on online gaming, or what we call e-games.
Sir, we have preliminary data. Unfortunately, it's still being validated and undergoing cleansing of data.
Okay. You submitted two numbers to us, no? I'm not very sure which one to take. Based on your initial submission to us, it's 1.6 billion. Is that correct? And then I just received information today. It's 13 billion in terms of tax collection. 2023 muna, no? Just 2023. Asek Carlo, maybe you want to enlighten us on this, because there's a PAGCOR component as regulatory fees. There's tax component in the form of gaming fees, no? So magkano yung gaming fees being collected, or gaming tax being collected by the BIR? Only on e-gaming, just e-gaming.
Mr. Chair, yes, I can confirm the 13.3 billion pesos in 2023, but this is highly preliminary. Since we're seeing some inconsistency as well with the data provided by PAGCOR, such as, for instance, the gross gaming revenue for the e-games is in the 60 billion pesos. But if you take a look at the income tax, it's only in the millions of pesos. So there's still some inconsistencies. So we're still cleaning the data, sir. But the latest one is the 13.3 billion as of 2023, but it is highly preliminary, sir.
Mm-hmm. So we'll just use that means it can still go up, diba? Kumbaga floor na itong 13 billion.
Yes,
Correct?
Mr. Chair. And if you remember, sir, kasi sa Pogo in 2023, it's 10 billion.
Correct.
And if you take a look at the income of PAGCOR, Pogo share is only around 3 to 4%.
Correct. Yeah.
On the other hand, for e-game, it's 30+%.
Okay.
So we're still, again, it's highly preliminary and we're updating the data, sir.
Okay. But let's take 13 billion as a floor. And of course, the bigger, the better for government. But you agree that the 13 billion is the floor. It can still go up. It will not go down anymore, considering that the GGR, gross gaming revenue from PAGCOR, has already reached 60 billion pesos.
Mr. Chair, highly likely it will be the floor.
Okay. So 13 billion for that, so which is very substantial. In fact, in 2021 is only 2.7 billion. In 2022 it's 8.5. Now it's 13.3. So the trend is similar to PAGCOR, and it can still go up in that case. And in what form are we charging the e-gaming companies? Anong kanilang tax regime, Attorney Reyes? In short, I can see here franchise tax or gaming tax. That is the biggest component. Is that the biggest component of their tax regime?
Sir, as per our initial data, it is the biggest chunk of their tax regime.
What it is the rate of their franchise tax?
Fa-
Go ahead.
As far as I know, it's 5% franchise tax, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so it's 5%.
5% po lang.
Franchise tax. So
Yeah.
5% franchise tax to PAGCOR, and then to BIR, and then 30-35 to PAGCOR. Good.
Di po sa atin and 5% po galing sa BIR.
So BIR.
So
Okay.
total po halos 5%. And lately, part of what we're doing, I just want to share with you, Mr. Chairman. PAGCOR now, just like what we did in the Pogo industry, IGN Pogo industry, we are now providing BIR with our data of GGR para po, like hopefully they're able to also have a copy of what we're generating. Nang sa ganun, ma-monitor po nila yung mga kumpanya na licensees natin.
Tama ba? Franchise tax is 5% on gross gaming revenue due to BIR, and then 30% of gross gaming revenue due
Yeah,
to PAGCOR?
Yes.
Parang lugi ang BIR. BIR yata mas malaki. No, but again, that's a policy question. No? We'll talk. It's something that we can talk about later on. No, but at least the point there is in both, whether PAGCOR or BIR, it's the same pocket naman yan. It's government's pocket. No? So, but the trend is the same. But what I wanted to point out, that both the collection of PAGCOR and the collection of BIR is growing at a phenomenal rate, no, 100%. So, and we want to get the validation from the final number from the BIR on the franchise tax being collected, and also the other taxes being collected by BIR. Beaver. Kaninang kinuha nyo. But for now, it's 13 billion. Actually, from, tama ba ito, Sec? From January to July, meaning first half, it's already 10 billion in terms of collection. Ganun kalaki?
Yes, Mr. Chair, 10.7, similar to the trend provided by the PAGCOR.
Yeah. So if we, by all things equal, the full year can reach about 20 billion. More or less, more or less lang. I mean,
Yes, Mr. Chair, 15 to 20 billion.
No, ang BIR collection.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. All right. So it seems like meron ng kapalit ang Pogo. No? Kahit wala na yung Pogo, pinalitan naman ng e-games, no? So all right, and so we've talked about the revenue being generated by online gaming / e-gaming. Would like to ask, of course, when you talk about gaming, it will not be complete if we don't talk about also the other side of gaming. No, that's normal in gaming / gambling. No, meron talagang negative side ang gambling. No, well, that's really the nature of this industry, and a lot of jurisdictions just manage the downside of gambling. They implement anti-addiction programs. They implement stricter regulation in terms of the minimum betting, also who can bet, who can enter casinos, who can play on online gaming. And that's what we want to discuss with our enforcers. In fact, last time we talked about, we asked the opinion of our colleagues from the PNP, and they mentioned that they are not in favor, no, of online gaming. May I also again ask the PNP their opinion on the bill, particularly on online gaming or e-gaming? Yung Pogo, we already ano na yan, no? That's already a ban. So we want to focus on e-gaming. And I remember during the last hearing, your official statement is not to your official statement is also to ban e-gaming. No? So I want to ask again whether that statement remains the same on the part of the PNP.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. On the part of the PNP, we submitted our position paper last August 30 with special concerns on like the definitions of bet or wager and internet gaming or online gambling. So on the part of the PNP, we would like to declare that the provision on repeal of authority to regulate online gambling are too broad, that this may encompass the operations of the Philippine Charity Sweepstakes Office. Prudence dictates that the definitions provided should be studied further so that other games subject to chance will not be adversely affected, unless the intent of the legislation is to prohibit all forms of online gambling without exemptions. Number 2, on the penalty imposable, the degree of participation or involvement of the would-be violator should be specifically defined and penalized accordingly, such as letter A, bettor, B, coordinator, controller, or supervisor, the C, operator, whether local or international. A recommended penalty of 6 years and 1 day as a minimum so that it is not subject to probation. Letter D, personnel or staff of online gambling operations. Letter E, social media outlets like Facebook, Messenger, Viber, Telegram, or similar online platforms that allow or facilitate knowingly or deliberately the operations of online gambling. And letter F, GCash, Cebuana, Palawan, MLWiller, and other similar bayan centers that place, receive, or transmit a bet or wager on live streaming or broadcasting on online gambling. Include number 3, recommendation, Mr. Chair, include as part of the penalty imposable that confiscated machinery, equipment, tools, and or bet money in online gambling operations shall be forfeited in favor of the government. And lastly, number 4, to include in the provision to be inserted in the bills, the Cybercrime Division of the National Bureau of Investigation, Anti-Cybercrime Group of the Philippine National Police, and other law enforcement agencies shall monitor, conduct motu proprio investigation or upon complaint, and prosecute all responsible persons, including the social media or internet provider, Mr. Chair. That would be all for the PNP, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Colonel Arceo, I remember last time the PNP representative, I'll get the name later, categorically stated that the PNP's position is to ban e-gaming. Is that does that still stay?
Actually, after that hearing, Mr. Chair, the PNP had a meeting. That's why we had our position that it will be regulated, Mr. Chair. Not all online gaming, Mr. Chair.
When I say online gaming, these are the e-games. These are yung mga nakikita natin sa phone who takes bets here in the Philippines. No?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So you change your position from total ban to regulation. Is that the official position? Let me just make it clear. And the representatives last time was General Tataka, Colonel Tuliao, and Colonel De Castro, as well as Colonel Valmonte. I think it was General Tataka who made this comment last time. And then pala si Colonel Tuliao. No? So are you saying that you have changed your position from banning to regulation? Okay. Tama
Yes,
ba?
Mr. Chair.
And why is that so? Kasi I remember that was a strong statement and that's why naalala ko siya. But why change? Why is the PNP changing your position?
Mr. Chair, the ACG will answer.
That's why we seek the support of other units, sir, in this particular stand. That's why in the second paragraph of our position paper, sir, we have here that PNP supports the wisdom of the legislature in pursuing the foregoing legislative measures. It is without question that addictive behaviors like gambling have devastating effect on individuals, families, and their community, and have enormous socio-economic impacts on the national and global level. The use of online platform compounds the negative effects of this menace by providing easier access to gambling sites and electronic money transfers. The welfare of the Filipino people should not be sacrificed for the economic benefits derived from the operations of these organizations. And yun na yung following paragraph that was already stated by Colonel Arceo, sir.
In short, based on your position report, position paper, you did not change your position. Kasi it's here, categorically, you said, the PNP supports the wisdom of the legislature in pursuing the foregoing legislative measures. And the legislative measure calls for total ban of online gaming. Diba? Huwag kayong mahiya kay Chairman Tenko. Alam ko, baka nahiya lang kayo, nandyan siya. Don't be, huwag kayong mahiya. No? This is a, trabaho lang naman to. Wala namang personalan. Diba? Huwag kayong mahiya sa kanya. No, that's why we're weighing it. In fact, the committee has no position yet. Wala kaming position. We're weighing. This is in Pogo, ban na yan. Yan position namin. Yung e-gaming, we're still weighing and they were studying. That's why it's very important to hear from our police force. Mamaya tatanungin natin ang PAOK on their position, because just like Pogo, na nakita natin in social ills. And the social ills of Pogo does not come in the form of addiction in the Philippines, but in the form of criminal, hardcore criminal activities. In this case, I agree with you. The negative effects of e-gaming will come in the form of addiction in gambling. So that's why we want to hear from the police force themselves, being the enforcers, their official position. And in this case, again, I'll put it on record that you did not reverse your position. You maintain that the PNP supports the wisdom of the legislature in pursuing the foregoing legislative measures, which is to ban it. No, and that's fine. No, kung kung yan ang position ninyo, dahil at the end of the day ho, kayo rin ang lalapitan ng taong bayan kung may problema. No? And we also requested from the PNP, have you encountered any criminal activities related to e-gaming? Sa Pogo kasi very clear yung reporting nyo no? Talagang you track down human trafficking, the victims. But in e-gaming, meron bang nag-report sa inyo? For example, marami kasi anecdotal, to be honest about it. Marami yung, especially nung nangyari yung e-sabong, di ba? Marami yung nagbebenta ng anak, na may mga ganun, na nabaon sa utang, and then ng hold up. Maraming mga ganun na news reports lumalabas that time. No? But these are obviously anecdotal. But officially, how many e-gaming incidents related to crime have the PNP received over the past maybe 2 to 5 years?
Mr. Chair, for now, we don't have the information or the data. Maybe we can provide your committee on this. We will check with the Directorate for Investigation and Detective Management if there are any cases related to that matter, Mr. Chair.
And, meron bang from off top, meron ba kayong being police officers, have you received any complaints about e-gaming, whether from your own police force or from our communities? Just off top lang.
There's no reports, but we heard like in those personal engaged in investments, but we don't have the specific reports on that, Mr. Chair. But rather, we only have from the word of mouth that there are some personal engaged on that. But the PNP already issued countermeasures, like we during random inspections, our chief of police are being directed to conduct random inspections on the cell phones of their personnel to check on online apps, if there are online gaming apps on their cell phones, to ensure that our personnel no longer engage in online games, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Well, it seems to me that it's not as prevalent as the Pogos. Nevertheless, there are anecdotal news reports about criminal activities or crime related to e-gaming. Maybe not as pronounced as Pogos, but there is some, no? And please submit to us records related to e-gaming, si mga nare-report sa inyo connected to that. I want to also ask PAOK on their opinion, Yusek Cruz, on your opinion on the proposed measure, focusing on e-gaming. I think in Pogo is that's already a policy decision. Any comments on the e-gaming, Yusek?
Your Honor, we have that not much information as to the e-gaming compared to the records and data of the Philippine National Police and other law enforcement agencies. We focus more on POGO operations, Your Honor, during the plus few months. Kaya sir, kulang kami ng data. So as to the e-gaming, sir, di po ako makapag-comment.
Do you have any information, POGOs transferring to e-gaming, POGOs transferring to service providers? I know you have your intelligence network is vast and quite extensive. So do you have that information? Movement from POGOs to e-gaming?
We have information, Your Honor, as our experience. If ever, sir, may I think that there was 2 instances that we raided a POGO hub that meron sila mga online gamings na ini-sponsor nila in other countries like India and China, even Taiwan. Meron doon sir sa mga computers nila ng mga online gamings. And I think yun lang pang front lang po yung ginagawa sir ng mga POGO. If ever there'll be inspectors from PAGCOR or some agencies, yun ang pakikita nila. But not really, yung mga POGOs kasi sir, may front sila lagi eh. Pag sa inspection na ginagawa sir ng PAGCOR, yun siguro yung papakita nila, they are involved in e-gaming, but in reality sir, it's all scamming activities. And that's our experience sa mga raids po na ginawa namin sa mga POGO hubs. So, not really na nag-i-indulge sila sir sa online gaming, but yung scamming talaga.
Yusek, yung mga service providers. I haven't been to a service provider yet, no, but I'm just speculating at this point. Can the service providers be used as a front for POGOs? Is that possible? Just speculating, just to throw this on the table.
Sa pag-aaral namin sir, though di talaga kami trumabaho sir ng mga special class BPOs na yan sir, but tingin ko sir hindi po pwede sir.
How come based on your analysis, how come it's not possible?
Hindi yung sir, yung ginagamit nila sir is kakaiba talaga sir. The system that they are using is not really compatible with the systems that being used by mga POGO operators. Magkaiba sir.
And you don't think that after the shutdown, after December, these POGO personalities will move into the e-gaming / service providers? Kasi e-gaming is attracting local bets, no?
Yes, sir.
But I would assume, again, I'm venturing into speculation, I would assume the setup is the same. My computers, my, the gadgets.
I think sir, it would be more comfortable to them sa mga POGO workers o yung mga POGO operators na mag-smaller version nila ng POGO, hiding inside maybe condominiums or apartments or mga bahay-bahay, but not going dun sa mga special class PPOs na yun. Kasi sir, it's already recorded eh. And definitely, anytime sir, pwede silang puntahan ng PAGCOR and they don't want those hassles sir na gawin na mahaharas sila eh. So I think sir, it would be better for them na punta na lang sila sa isang bahay, mag-rent sila ng isang bahay or isang floor na condominiums, which is nangyayari na ngayon sir. Some of them are really in houses na lang sir.
Also, the service providers and e-gamings are mostly Filipinos. I think that's the minimum requirement, 95%. So if you see foreigners there, then obviously it's
Yes,
iba na.
Medyo now they're more uncomfortable na po sila sir pag may mga Filipinos silang katrabaho, especially those who are involved in in POGO operation. Ayaw nila sir, gusto nila sila lang. That's why sir sa mga POGO operations naka-isolate talaga sir yung POGO farm nila, yung scam farm nila sir, naka-isolate talaga in small buildings.
Thank you, Sec. How about NBI? Any comments to the bill?
Good afternoon. Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, everyone. So, Mr. Chair, the NBI has been proactive since 2015 in this crackdown of POGO operations. If I remember, during this year's 2015, ang POGO operation po natin talagang purely gambling. So, papasok po tayo sa isang building, panay Chinese po yan, and talagang gambling po ang ino-operate nila. May marirecover po tayo mga credit card swiper, maraming credit card na galing China, and then nagfo-focus po sila sa mga clients sila from China. And talagang gambling lang po. Lately lang po, ito pong mga POGO, it became a common term, but actually POGO is now a scam hub. So scamming activities na po ang ginagawa nila. Kung mapapansin nyo po yung mga 2015 po na operation po ng NBI, 2015, 2016, 2017, Mostly po yan, mga POGO operations po yan. These are all gambling operations. So, based on that, mga operations namin, I think POGO operations could shift into online gaming operations because parehas naman po ang setup niyan. The only thing na nagde-develop po ay dahil po ngayon meron na po tayong mga digital banking platforms which make it easier for money transfers. So it is also possible for this kind of operations, itong mga POGO operators natin, to shift into domestic e-gaming. And now and they could also cater to yung mga local clients na local na mga kliyente po, not only to clients coming from China. Yun po.
So on your analysis, Attorney Angluben, this POGO entities, there's a possibility for these POGO entities to morph or to move into the e-gaming, which basically caters to the domestic market, based on your observation and analysis.
Yes, Mr. Chair. But this time, of course, they need to employ Filipino employees. O kung magki-cater po tayo sa mga local na bettors. Unlike before na yung POGO po nagki-cater lang po sa mga Chinese bettors.
I think that's another phenomenon that they try to avoid, no, hiring local, tama ba, Yusek Cruz? Kasi once you hire local, you're exposed now to local information, no? So normally nakita rin namin na sila lang, no, mga foreigners. But based on NBI's cybercrime division, there's a possibility that they will move into the e-gaming
Yes, Mr. Chair.
industry.
It's the same setup being used for POGO operations, just converting it to e-gaming, so that it could cater to local bettors, domestic bettors.
Thank you for that comment from the NBI. To AMLAC, Attorney Arpon, any comment on again, no, just focus on e-gaming, wag na yung sa POGO. Any analysis on the e-gaming industry from AMLAC?
Good morning po, Your Honor. There are PAGCOR supervised entities, Your Honor, which are registered with the AMLC. And these are e-games, e-bingo, and poker. But Your Honor, with respect to the Senate bills under consideration, whether or not this online gaming will be banned, Your Honor, we submit the same to the discretion of the Senate. But for the POGO, Your Honor, we have been actively investigating the money laundering aspect of the same since last year, in particular since the start of the POGO in Clark, Your Honor.
For the e-gaming, have you detected any unusual activity, any from the covered persons or the covered entity? Have they reported any suspicious transaction or any unusual activities? This is in relation to e-gaming, not POGO, e-gaming.
Yes, Your Honor. As I have previously mentioned, there are PAGCOR supervised, and thus far we have not received suspicious transactions.
Can you also can we request an analysis of the e-gaming, a deeper analysis on that? For now, you have not received any suspicious report in relation to e-gaming, but can we request a much thorough analysis on that?
On the e-gaming, Your Honor.
E-gaming lang.
And so far as those which are registered before the AMLC, would that be precise, Your Honor?
Until now, no? Before and until now. No? Because there are 45 e-gaming entities. 45 service providers. How many ang e-gaming? 80. I think there's 84 e-gaming entities. No, so we want to get a report from AMLAC whether they're involved in any money laundering activities or any reports to that matter.
We'll do so, Your Honor.
But for now, there's no report.
There's none, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you for that. You also have a representative from AYACAT, the Interagency Council Against Trafficking. Any comment?
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Insofar as the department is concerned, our database only shows a violation for RA 9287, amending PD 1602. So we have not yet received any complaint regarding cases involving e-games. Yeah.
And in the same token, may request a much thorough backtracking of records if you have any information regarding e-gaming involved in trafficking, which is quite remote because they're Filipinos, you know. So, but nevertheless, just to complete our analysis, may we also get a backtracking of records to that effect.
We will comply, Mr. Chair.
Thank you for that. Just to complete our analysis, we also invited private sector representatives from e-gaming themselves and those who are involved in this industry. And we thank them for joining us today to share their thoughts on the matter, and also if they have any reactions, we would welcome that from them. So we start off with internet gaming licensees. Mr. Attorney Gaspar of Micro Info Systems. And Attorney Gaspar, you're an e-gaming licensee, tama ba?
No, Your Honor. Internet gaming licensee, Your Honor.
IGL.
Yes.
Okay. So you're an IGL licensee.
Yes, Your Honor. My
Okay.
client, Micro Info Systems Limited, is an IGL licensee, Your Honor.
Meaning they are POGOs.
Or used to be POGOs,
Used to be
Your Honor.
POGOs. So
Yes,
na-rebrand into IGL.
Yes, Your Honor.
No, just to call it a spade, diba? And then any comments? Okay, any comments? Since I've already recognized you, any comments on the proposed measures?
Oh, well, the position of MISL, Your Honor, is that given the directive of the President to cease operations by the end of this year, they will, of course, comply with that, Your Honor. They are also coordinating with their BPO so that the BPO will also cease operations by end of December, Your Honor. And they assured all of their affected employees that they will receive the statutory benefits of terminated employees, Your Honor.
Microsystems Limited, Micro Info Systems Limited, is a licensed IGL, and how many employees are being employed by Micro Info Systems?
It's unique in the sense, Your Honor, that it's a British Virgin Island company, Your Honor. So while it has a Philippine license, it operates abroad, Your Honor, to cater to foreign clients, Your Honor. So the bulk of the employees who will be affected, Your Honor, would be the BPO employees, Your Honor.
But for this company, it does not employ Filipinos.
It employs Filipinos, Your Honor, for compliance purposes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Like, for example, a representative for AMLA, for BIR representatives. But other than those compliance officers, Your Honor, no Filipino employees, Your Honor.
And they engage a service provider, a BPO.
Yes, Your Honor.
For their backroom and gaming activities.
Yes, Your Honor.
And how many employees are
The
that
BPO
segment?
has around 500 employees, Your Honor.
And which BPO is this?
It's Pacific Sea, Your Honor.
Pacific Sea. So in this case, since the directive is to already cease POGO/IGL, the 500 employees of Pacific Seas will also be terminated.
Yes, Your Honor, because the impression that they got is that with the directive, it also covers BPO services, Your Honor. But as we have discussed earlier, that is still not defined, Your Honor. So maybe that's something that I can relate to them so that maybe they can consider operating even after the ban if their operations will be allowed, Your Honor.
But aside from Micro Info Systems, Does Pacific Sea have other clients?
No, Your Honor, it's exclusive to MISL, Your Honor. But during our discussions, Your Honor, I think it's also possible that they can also service another IGL if it's allowed, Your Honor.
Yeah, but the IGL will be terminated until end of the year.
Yes, Your Honor. But what I think what they're trying to say is that they have the capability to service another licensee, a foreign licensee, Your Honor, because that's the way they do their business, Your Honor.
All right, I understood. Okay, thank you, Attorney.
Thank you, Your Honor.
We also invited service providers, Attorney Granado of Avantise Corporation. Any comments?
Good morning, Mr. Chair. It's Avantis, actually.
Avantis.
Yes.
Okay.
As far as Avantis is concerned, we're also will be fully compliant with the directive of the president, and we are actually in the works with the downgrading of the visas of our foreign employees, which will be done by October 15 this year, and then the company will be shut down. Well, not the company, the operations will be shut down by the end of the year, December.
Cater to IGLs or
Yes.
to e-gaming?
To an IGL also. So,
Okay. And how many employees do you have?
about 500.
Also 500.
Yes.
And may I ask what specific service are you providing? Is it accounting service? Is it gaming service? Kasi I saw the list of service providers. There are a multitude of services or a list of different services being provided, from marketing to gaming to backroom. So in your case, what specific service are you providing?
So we're primarily doing customer support service or back end primarily. Customer is help, sort of like a help desk function for our client, for our IGLs.
And the 500 are mostly what nationality?
We have about 50-50 of Filipinos and foreign nationals.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And the foreign are what nationality?
I don't have the data with me right now, but they're of various nationalities,
Okay.
Your Honor.
And how many clients do you have? Also one client?
Just one
Which
client.
one is this?
It's Best Commerce Corporation.
Thank you, Attorney Granado. We are also represented by Attorney Pangan, representing Caspo Incorporated, another service provider. Any comment?
Good morning, Your Honor. To clarify our business model for the honorable body, Caspo operates strictly as a business-to-business entity and not a business-to-customer company. This means that Caspo does not engage directly with individual consumers, nor do we accept consumer funds or wagers. Instead, we provide services such as sports event data, odds pricing, and odds information to other businesses, basically statistical data that our clients will need. Our clients are based in reputable international jurisdictions. We are strictly a service provider. Thank you.
For the service providers, may I ask, I heard earlier that majority or almost all of you have one client that you service. Is it possible for your company to move into the e-gaming industry or the e-gaming portion of the gaming industry? Is it possible to move into that?
I guess it's possible, but I don't think it's probable because the business model is different. We do not cater to customers. We only have clients as other businesses because they need data from us. That is the only thing we provide, Your Honor.
Mhm. How about getting other clients? For example, I heard earlier from Attorney Gaspar that it's possible that they can continue to get clients because your clients are here in the Philippines. But if, for example, if the special class BPOs will be allowed to operate, can your company still continue to get clients from outside of the Philippines? Good.
Yes, Your Honor, that's possible because we provide data. So it's possible for us to have several clients outside of the Philippines.
Okay, all right. Thank you for that. And we also have a representative from the gaming hubs, Attorney Ricalde of First Orient International Ventures Corp.
Yes, good morning, Your Honor.
Any comments, Attorney?
As a POGO hub, we will also comply with the directive of the President to cease operations by the end of the year, Your Honor.
Okay. And where's this located? First Orient. This is a hub. This is the
Yes.
location.
Sorry, Your Honor.
This is the location. This is not a service provider. It's a location.
No, it is a hub,
It's
Your
a hub.
Honor.
Okay.
Yes.
And where is this located?
It is in Covelandia Road, Barangay Pulverista, Binakayan, Cavite, Cavite, Your Honor.
Okay. And then I think I see that whenever I take the plane. I think everyone can't miss that, no? And all of those buildings there is owned by First Orient. Because I see a lot of buildings. There's buildings in front, there's parang warehouses at the back. So those are owned by one company? Is that how it's structured?
The buildings are owned by First Orient, Your Honor.
Okay. And then you mentioned that they will First Orient will comply with the pronouncement of the President. What will happen to those buildings?
I'm not exactly sure, Your Honor, about the exact plan of the management, but I think they will repurpose it to lease out as corporate offices, Your Honor.
Okay. And have you filed your termination
The letter to cancel.
PAGCOR?
We intend to send the letter to cancel accreditation to PAGCOR by November 15, Your Honor, this
Okay.
year.
Just in time before the
Yeah.
year end.
Yes,
Okay.
Your Honor.
All right. And how many Filipinos work in that facility?
Around 9,000 employees, Your Honor.
Filipinos.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And how many foreigners?
Around 6,000 employees, Your Honor, foreigners.
So about 15,000 work in that facility.
More or less. Your
More or
Honor.
less, yeah.
Yes.
More or less. Baka pwede nang balik na resort yun. Dati nakapunta na ako doon to may mga fishing yun eh. But andun pa ba yung fishing?
Meron pong
Meron naman.
natin.
Baka pwede na yung balik yung fishing. All right. Any comments from our resource persons? Anyone who wants to comment on the bill, particularly on e-gaming? Meron kayong Commissioner Viado of the Bureau of Immigration. Any comments po?
Good morning,
You're
Your
the
Honor.
Commissioner in charge?
I am the officer in charge.
Officer
Your
in charge.
Yes.
Okay.
Good morning, Your Honor, and to the distinguished guests. And thank you for inviting us. As far as the bill on e-gaming is concerned, we would like to express and reiterate our full support to the same. And if required to give our official position on the matter, we will confer with our mother agency, Your Honor.
Thank you. And for on the part of Bureau of Immigration, you're
Yes, Your Honor.
supporting the ban on e-gaming. We're already saying
The pending bill, yes.
yeah, because there are now two bills. The one on purely on Pogos by Senator
Yes,
Joel,
Your Honor.
and we'll pursue that.
Yes, Your Honor.
The other one was on online gaming, which includes e-gaming, and you're supporting that ban also on e-gaming.
We support, yes.
And how come? I just want to.
I'm
Another
just
aspect.
reiterating the support given earlier by our representative. But if we need to submit a more detailed position on the matter, we will comply with whatever is going to be directed to us by this honorable.
Because as far as I know, e-gaming employs mostly Filipinos. So
Yes.
obviously the interaction with the Bureau of Immigration is not as pronounced as Pogos. No?
That's correct, Your Honor. As stated by the representative from the NBI, most of the employees are Filipinos. So the enforcement aspect of the same will change as far as the Bureau of Immigration is concerned. But if there are any foreigners concerned or affected, then we will enforce the law as maybe
Correct.
directed, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner.
You're welcome, sir.
We call on SEC. Any comments from the SEC? I think we're SEC here. Malis na. DFA. Any comments from the DFA? Wala tayong sa DFA. How about to TESDA? Ma'am, I think this is insofar as the transition of the 20 plus Filipinos from POGOs to other industries.
Yes, sir. Good morning po. Good morning to all. In light of Section 7 of the bill, of which we will be coordinating with DOL and BICT. Of course, we welcome po this because this is in line with our with our mandate, and with other government agents. Of course, we will be formulating. We will be helping in the formulation and implementation of plans and programs for the transition of the affected Filipino workers. So TESDA naman po is ready with our mandate in the skilling and upskilling of our kababayans na mawawalan po ng trabaho. And of course, with the vast array of our skills development programs, masasali naman po sila doon. And we are ready to partner with other private agencies po, private institutions or private firms to develop our our workers who will be displaced. So andyan naman po yung sa ating mga higher levels na skills, and then of course yung sa ating mga yung inline naman po sa kanilang mga kailangan na skills. Kami po ay ready dyan para makipag-coordinate to different agencies po and other private companies po.
Thank you to TESDA, to Director Takuma. I can see Director Pangwi of DFA. Any comments, Director Pangwi?
Good afternoon. Good morning, Honorable Chair. Though yung comments po ng DFA na prepared po is more on POGOs really. We have a previous comment on POGOs na when anything illegal nakaka-harm sa atin is actually whatever business transaction, any economic transaction na that involves the trafficking of people. Of course, we do support that. Kung sa internet gaming po, ang importante po dito, at least as far as the DFA is concerned, related to our previous comments for this, as long as there's no trafficking, there's nothing involved, we're supportive of that, sir. Basta no criminal activities are involved. Yun po ng position ng DFA.
Well, so far, based on our information and also from the statements of PAGCOR, that e-gaming focuses mostly on the domestic market. Therefore, a lot of the employees in that industry are Filipinos because they cater to the domestic market. They have some foreign workers. I think 5%, or even in my records only 1%. 1% expats, but these are probably expats, officers of these companies. So. That's why the interaction between BI and the DFA is much less, and also less stressful for you guys, lalo na sa Bureau of Immigration may natanggal na nga So so far as e-gaming is concerned, less stressful for both agencies because it's mostly Filipinos. Yes, go ahead, Director.
If I may, sir, if ang relation naman DFA if ever is more on but visas if ever, pero this will involve work visas, and work visas are not being issued by the DFA. So we differ on sa mga PEZA, DELA or DOLE in regards to these the issuance of these work visas for expatriate employees.
All right. So any more comments from our resource persons? Hearing none, we will continue the bill to ban POGOs and to repeal the taxation of POGOs by going into a technical working group. And then this is in line with the pronouncement of the President. Hopefully, obviously, the executive order will come ahead of time before the bill will become a law. But nevertheless, the objective of the committee is to come up with a law so that this type of activities will not be permitted to operate in our country. As to e-gaming, we're continuing. We are undertaking a much more comprehensive study, and that's why we want to request from the BIR and the DFA as the DOF a cost-benefit analysis, Carlo, a cost-benefit analysis on the e-gaming. We also want to get information from the PNP and from the NBI insofar as e-gaming lang. E-gaming is concerned, all crime related to e-gaming. Please supply the committee with that. So we are we will continue to study the e-gaming portion of the bill. We don't have any recommendation yet, and we welcome more information from PAGCOR, of course, to complete our studies. So we will also request from AMLAC and AYACAT the same information regarding e-gaming. So with that, we don't have any more questions to the body, and feel free to send us your position papers on the 4 bills at hand, and we will continue to study this industry very thoroughly. So maraming salamat po sa inyong presensya dito. Thank you for your participation and your candidness. This meeting is hereby suspended.